So Tucker Carlson has gone completely off the rails and is taking bizarre positions. I want to talk about it, why it's important, the things that are going on here, and why we've got to stop it. And things really got to a head yesterday. Ted Cruz was a guest on Tucker Carlson's show on X, and Tucker really caught him off guard. Now, we know that Tucker Carlson has been taking a position against President Trump's position with Iran, and he's not the only MAGA guy who's been doing this. There's a lot, well, are they really MAGA? If they're criticizing President Trump and taking issue with him publicly on a big issue like this situation with Iran, are they really MAGA or fake MAGA, right? But what Tucker Carlson did with Ted Cruz was ambush him, catch him off guard, ambushed him, tried to humiliate him. And this exchange has been going viral all day. And I really just want to break the whole thing down and talk about it. So first what I'm going to do is just play it. All right, I'll play it in its entirety and then we'll talk about it.
How many people live in Iran, by the way?
I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah,
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's,
because,
it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and
what
predominantly Shia. Okay, this is
no,
cute.
It's not
okay.
even... You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay,
actually,
I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
don't know anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the
I'm
one
not saying that.
Who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that...
We're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay. So what's going on here, and why is Tucker Carlson doing this? There's a number of reasons, and it's something that I hope Tucker reverses right away. Now, one thing about Tucker is he's kind of, I wouldn't say he's faded away, but in the last few weeks, few months, he hasn't really done anything that's been national news, right? He hasn't been trending on X, he hasn't been talked about that much. And one of the things that we have with the new media, and, of course, I love the new media. I'm new media. He's new media now, right? Left the mainstream legacy, you know what the new media are. A lot of people that are in the new media go into a panic, okay, when they're not talked about by everybody, or they're not viral, or they're not a trending hashtag on that list of trends on X. So they do things that are outrageous so that everyone's talking about them. And people believe that Andy Warhol thing, there's no such thing as bad publicity. And I don't think so. There's certainly such a thing as bad publicity, okay? Not all publicity is good publicity. And this is part of what's going on with Tucker, and it's really the least important part. The bigger part I'm going to get to in a moment, so bear with me. So Tucker Carlson, who earned a nickname from President Trump this week, Kooky Tucker Carlson, because of these bizarre positions he's been taking against the president, and now this ambush with Ted Cruz. And what he is trying to do is have everyone talking about him, which we're doing, but there's more to it than that. Here's the other thing, okay? The Bush Republicans, the Republican establishment, they have not accepted their defeat, okay? President Trump has transformed the Republican Party. The MAGA movement is now the Republican establishment. The old Republican establishment are fringe on the outside who have been completely dethroned. The Weekly Standard, country club Republicans. And I would argue that historically, Tucker Carlson was a part of that. If you remember, he became famous. It wasn't his first time nationally known, but he became famous as the Republican on Crossfire on CNN years ago, okay? And the bow tie look and all of that. He is the old Weekly Standard Republican establishment type guy. He has been his whole life. But we've embraced him, and we like him, and the things he did that led to his termination at Fox and everything made him a big star inside the MAGA movement. But the old Weekly Standard Bush Republicans, they are planning a comeback, and they have told themselves something that is false, but this is what they've told themselves, is that, okay, Trump got reelected, he's got his second term, and when his second term is over, that movement will fade away. When they don't have their leader, Donald Trump, in charge, the MAGA movement will be gone, and we're going to be back in charge, the Republican establishment. And what the Republican establishment are doing is making moves on people inside the MAGA movement, right? The fake MAGA crowd. And a lot of these fake MAGA people, every once in a while, they blow their cover. But when we're beyond the Trump presidency, which is a long time from now, okay? But when the Trump presidency is finally over and the president retires to Mar-a-Lago, they're going to make their move. And they're setting things up for DeSantis, Nikki Haley, and types of Republicans like that to be the next Republican president. They don't think J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio are going to be it. They're going to try to make a move and get the Republican establishment back in charge. There are many people inside the media, even conservative media, new media, who are thinking about a post-Trump future. And many of them are betting or always have been with these old establishment Republicans. And there's a lot of these people that are setting the stage for themselves after Trump is no longer in office. And that may be part of what Tucker Carlson's doing here. But I know this MAGA divide has got to stop. We've had a couple of instances of this MAGA divide. And in the past, it was stopped. We had a lot of it over the speakership battle. And we're about to get to it again. And what's happening with Tucker Carlson is building up a following of Republicans that don't like Trump. Many of them say, well, I'm MAGA, I voted for Trump, I voted for him this time, I voted for him last time, but I don't like this, that, or the other thing. And Tucker Carlson and others are building up this so-called MAGA group inside the MAGA movement that are against President Trump. And you look at what's going on with the Democrat Party right now. They are in shambles. Their party is fading away for a lot of reasons. And one of the reasons that the Democrat Party is fading away, and what's going on with the Democrat Party, it's not just that they lost, okay? They have divisions, right? They have these different factions inside the Democrat Party. They can't agree. They got David Hogg. They've got the Squad. They've got this governor here. They got this governor there. They got Newscomb. They've got Tim Walz. And they don't have a unified party. They are fractured into all these different movements. Well, what Tucker Carlson is doing could very well lead to that inside the Republican Party. We are united. We won the White House again. We won control of both houses. We don't have the majority size that we would like, especially in the House. We could grow, but before you know it, it's going to be midterm election season, and we don't need a bunch of people like Tucker Carlson running around making arguments against Trump. This could cost us not just the midterms, which we have a chance of winning, but cost us the next presidential run too. And these people know it. It's very devious, very bad, very dangerous. And we have to be MAGA united. You know, if you want to drain the swamp and transform everything, we need to be united. We're the establishment now, but we haven't been the establishment long enough to maintain it if we're not united, and it can be lost. And these Bush Republicans, these Weekly Standard Republicans, these Republican establishment, low-life, never-Trumper Republicans, they know that, and they're working on that. And Tucker Carlson needs to get his act together. For a little bit, of time, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Steve Bannon, okay, were taking issue with Trump's position very briefly on Iran. Marjorie Taylor Greene has not said another word since Trump released all this information, had his situation room meetings about Iran. Also, today at the White House, they had the flagpole event, right? That President Trump was at. Did you see that? Did you see who was next to President Trump? Pretty much the entire thing. That's right. Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend, Brian Glenn, formerly of Right Side Broadcasting. He's now with another outlet. He was right there with the president like his best bud, okay? The place where Elon Musk would have been. So things are cool with Marjorie Taylor Greene, for those that are wondering. And then also, Steve Bannon is distancing himself from this. Steve Bannon has dramatically predicted that Donald Trump supporters will ultimately rally behind the president if he decides to blow up Iran's mountain nuclear base. So Bannon is now back on board with Trump too, okay, and is distancing himself from this nonsense that Tucker Carlson started. So here you have it. We need to be MAGA united. And, I was talking to some people today on the morning show who were calling me, and there were a couple of people who were, listeners who were really MAGA, and they were saying to me, so you're saying if I disagree with Trump, I'm not MAGA. And this is what I told people, okay? It doesn't mean you have to agree on everything. I mean, maybe, President Trump doesn't drink alcohol. Maybe you like to have a few drinks. That's okay. But if there's a major issue, if there is an important issue like this issue with Iran, if there's or the big beautiful bill as an example, okay? If there's a major issue that President Trump is pushing, is supporting, is advocating for, and you are not supporting him and you're openly, actively, and very vocally opposing him on it, no, you're not MAGA. I'm sorry to tell you, you're not MAGA if you're opposing Trump, okay? You're not. This movement, the MAGA movement, to solidify it and keep us in power for the next 50 or 100 years or forever with the Republican Party begins right now with this second term of Trump, and we need to be MAGA united. So anyone who's opposing Trump on any issues, you really got to check yourself and look at the current state of the Democrat Party and how those divisions have destroyed them. Who do you believe and trust more, Tucker Carlson or Donald Trump? It's not even up for debate, is it? No, it's not. It's Donald Trump, and it's got to stay that way. And I hope that Tucker quickly does what Bannon did, is walk this stuff back. People can get wrapped up in media and attention and clicks and views and everything else and do a lot of stupid things, okay? But let's just hope that's not happening with Tucker Carlson. Let's hope Tucker Carlson gets his act back together. And he's so popular with the MAGA movement, and he could end all of that on a dime because we're not going to have a lot of patience for this. I'm sorry to tell you, Tucker Carlson, you're not more popular than Trump. You're not more important than Trump. People are not going to follow you over Trump, not if they're MAGA. My name's Brian. We're going to take a quick break and be right back. If you're on Medicare or turning 65 soon, listen up. Medicare, it's confusing, isn't it? You know what? It's not an accident. It's confusing on purpose. The endless mailers in your mailbox, they have fine print on them. What does it even mean? Sales calls pushing you into plans that might not even fit your needs or your budget. And all that confusion, that's why most people end up on the wrong plan. It can cost you thousands of dollars each year, sometimes even losing access to your doctors or medication. That's where Chapter comes in. Chapter is the only national Medicare advisor that compares all of the over 24,000 plans to find the best fit for you, not the insurance companies. And here's the best part. The call and the help is free. There's no pressure. You get answers right away. And the person you talk to on the phone, they work on salary, not commission. They're not commission salespeople. They're salaried, which means you're not going to get pushed into anything. And by the way, no matter where you are in the United States, Chapter can help. I'm going to give you the number in a minute. And the number is also in the description of this episode on whatever platform you're listening to us on, okay? So whether you're on Medicare right now or turning 65 soon, call 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. You're going to talk to a real person who's going to walk you through everything step by step. No gimmicks, just real help. Because the right plan can save you thousands. Again, that number is in the description of whatever platform you're listening to us on. And here it is again, 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. Call right now. Your health and your wallet will thank you.
What does it mean to endure, to find hope, and to embrace life despite its deepest hardships? Author Elise K. McKnight shares an extraordinary memoir of survival, resilience, and faith in her book, Reasons for Living. I Have Been Given Every Reason to Live, available on Amazon. Born and raised in war-torn Zimbabwe, the author's journey began with loss, but through strength, courage, and an unwavering spirit, she transformed adversity into a life of purpose. From childhood struggles to missionary work across Africa, her story is a testament to the power of perseverance and the beauty found in life's most unexpected places. Through heartfelt storytelling, Reasons for Living invites you to reflect on life's challenges and discover meaning beyond their circumstances. This book is also a great addition to your book club. Experience this powerful memoir today and order your copy on Amazon in Kindle and paperback. Reasons for Living. I Have Been Given Every Reason to Live. From author Elise K. McKnight. Way to and home from work, and even with your significant other? Then add Life in Black and White and all the shades in between to your podcast playlist. On Life in Black and White, host Ivana and Yao, an interracial couple raising 3 boys, share the highs, lows, and everything in between, with real-life discussions on parenting, relationships, race, and making the world a better place. Life in Black and White is real talk with expert guests and topics that hit home, like discipline that works, navigating career changes, and finding connection over correction. Life in Black and White is the podcast for anyone who's looking for thoughtful conversations and practical advice. Listen now on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and wherever you get your podcast. Learn more at thepocus.com. That's POKUS. Life in Black and White and all the shades in between. Tune in right now. If you're in business, you know that first impressions are crucial. Your business deserves a website that stands out. With nearly 20 years of experience, ProWeaver is your trusted partner for professional custom design websites that are built to elevate your brand. ProWeaver doesn't use generic templates, just fully responsive, user-friendly custom websites that are tailored to you and the needs of your business. And the best part, ProWeaver delivers in just 3 to 5 days. That's lightning speed compared to competitors who take weeks. ProWeaver handles everything for you. Logo design to e-commerce solutions, SEO, and social media setup. They'll help you launch, grow, and dominate online, all at an affordable price. Don't wait. Get your custom website right now. Visit ProWeaver.com or call them directly toll-free 877-216-0852. 877-216-0852. ProWeaver.com. Affordable, dependable, fast.
No one in this country wants war, but we are on a war footing. And I saw this story a little while ago in the Gateway Pundit. I've not even heard of this aircraft before. Have you? The Doomsday Plane? Listen to this. The presidential E-4B Doomsday Plane has landed near D.C. And this is, well, it's another really Air Force One. A U.S. Air Force E-48... it's a U.S. Air Force E-4B Doomsday Plane, also called Night Watch or the National Airborne Operations Center. It landed at Joint Base Andrews near D.C. Tuesday night after flying from Louisiana. This was caught on the local news up there. The E-4B serves as a high-altitude, nuclear-hardened airborne command center for the President, Secretary of Defense, and the Joint Chiefs. Outfitted with EMP shielding, which I didn't even know existed, hardened communications, and room for dozens, it is designed to maintain continuity of government in worst-case scenarios and stay aloft for days via in-flight refueling. Historically, the only other publicly known occasion the E-4B landed near Washington in response to a crisis was on September 11th, 2001. On that day. It was airborne and circled near D.C., preparing during the Pentagon attack. It's widely recognized as the only other occasion prompting such deployment. And this plane is something else. Local I-24 News reported a U.S. Air Force E-4B Night Watch aircraft, commonly known as the Doomsday Plane, landed at Joint Base Andrews, and the flight sparked speculation given the plane's historic role during major national and global crises that things are about to happen. There's something that is so true about President Trump. President Trump historically has been anti-war. He does not support wars, and his goal is to end them. For him to be involved in military action against Iran, which we're not. Obviously, we support Israel, and we sell Israel all these weapons that they use. But so far as we know, contrary to what Ted Cruz said to Tucker, we're not involved yet, although there's a lot of buildup. Have any of you thought about this, that President Trump is trying to run really a psych op on these guys? There could be a few things. We got the Doomsday Plane, first time it's been out and seen in 24 years. The president having this early morning emergency flight home in the middle of the night from Canada, having this middle of the night press conference, 5:30, 6 a.m. situation room, another situation room meeting later in the day with this Doomsday Plane, which is a classified thing, is all in the news and everybody's seeing this. Is he quite possibly trying to cause either the Iranian regime to do what he told them yesterday, surrender unconditionally, which the Ayatollah seems nuts and he's not open to that, or maybe inspire a coup in Iran? We were involved in a coup in the 1950s in Iran, okay? That brought the Shah into power. There was obviously a coup, an uprising in 79, and there's a lot of people inside Iran right now that are in some important positions inside the government that probably don't want to be dead tomorrow. And they see what's going on that President Trump doesn't play. Yesterday was all the stories about those massive bunker busters that are in the stealth bombers that are fueled and on the ground and within striking distance in just a short time to Iran, this and everything else that's going on. He very well could be attempting to inspire an overthrow right now. But there's definitely a big move being made because the last reigning Shah's son gave an address yesterday, which was in their native language, but I did see the translation of it, and he was talking like he's the head of state already, like he is back in power. So there is definitely a move being made to put the Shah back in power. I don't know how accepting the people of Iran would be. We really don't know what the people inside Iran think, right? What you and I hear from the people of Iran are from people that are dissidents, that have escaped. We don't know what the people inside Iran think. It's just like North Korea. You really don't know what the North Koreans think. The North Koreans and the Iranians both could be so brainwashed that they think they're living in the best countries in the world in paradise, right? You never know. But it does seem to me that President Trump is trying to inspire a coup. Now, in the first segment, I was talking about Tucker and how one of the problems with the new media is people that are in it are always desperate to be relevant all the time and pull stunts and do stupid things to go viral. And that's part of what's going on with Tucker. And the things that some of these people do, it's as stupid as these Instagram influencers that take pictures of themselves on the edge of cliffs, and then the wind blows and they fall off to the, you've seen these things. It's terrible. And there was one of these instances yesterday on the left with Jim Acasta. And the only reason Jim Acasta is famous is because Trump made him famous during the first term, and he quit CNN. CNN moved him to that late night slot, and his ego didn't allow him to take it. I think, what was it, an 11 p.m. slot? He could have made something of that. I would. It was going to be for the same pay. I would have done it. I would have done it if I was him. I wouldn't have let them push me out. And, what time was Nightline on when that was on? He could have done a show at 11 o'clock at night and been the most talked about show in news. He really could have. If he said, okay, I'm not going to let them tear me down. I'm going to take that 11 o'clock shot and take that time slot and turn it into something that people were talking about the next day. He would have been the last live show on every night. And when you're the last live show on at night, you have the ability to be what everybody is talking about first thing in the morning. Because if he was really doing newsworthy things on that 11 p.m. slot, remember, 11 p.m. Eastern, that's prime time out on the West Coast and prime time for a big chunk of the country. And he could have been the big cheese, but he's got ego problems. So now he's saying and doing stupid things so that everyone talks about him on X for a day so he can get some views on his podcast, which I'm not even clear on how to find Jim Acosta's podcast. Are you? I don't even know. I see clips on X all the time from something from his podcast, but I never see a link to find his podcast on any of those clips. So I don't know. Not that I would listen to his podcast. But here he is saying something stupid about the late wife of President Trump. Listen.
I got a question, though. Where are the ICE raids at the Trump properties?
Yes.
Can somebody call ICE on the Trump golf course in Virginia?
Yes,
You're telling me there's nobody in there that is undocumented or has some kind of squirreliness going on with their paperwork? Give me a break. Hey, how many immigrants has he married? He's got one buried at his golf course in New Jersey. Isn't she buried by the first hole or the second tee or something like that?
The first hole, yeah, it's the first hole.
Immigrants always doing the jobs that Americans don't want to do.
He's
Isn't that what
definitely not going to get.
I got.
What a classless lowlife, talking about the mother of, well, most of his children and his late wife and these jerks that he's on there with just think it's so funny. This is the same kind of crap that Tucker's pulling, trying to be viral, trying to get people to talk about them and not being relevant at the same time. And, you know, this is an amazing thing happened with President Trump this week, because if you remember, last week he told ICE not to go after farm workers and hotel workers, right? And he talked about how devastating it would be for the farm workers if they did that, right? I mean, for the farms, if they deported all the farm workers. He reversed all of that. And told them to start going after them. Now, you know, ICE only has so many resources, and they can't go after everybody at the same time, but he completely reversed that. And his reason for reversing it was pretty sharp. The reason he did the reversal on it is, I hate when commercials play like this. Yes. Oh, I hate when you have to listen to an ad before you play a video, okay? I'm going to play Ilhan Omar in a minute, so stand by, guys. But, you know, one of the reasons he did that is because there was so much outrage from MAGA people on social media. People were very outspoken. Well, wait a minute, why can't we go after these people? And he changed it on a dime, and that's a good thing. You know, it shows who, President Trump, who he consults. And it wasn't that he caved to pressure from MAGA voters. You know, MAGA voters on social media are kind of like advisors to him. And he rethought it and he changed it. And it was a minor thing. And he's like, you know what? That's the right thing to do. You know? And the new numbers came out and said that we had 0 illegal border crossings. They let a couple people through due to health issues, but 0 illegal border crossings last month. It's the first time it's happened in years and years and years. For the first time in many years, we have no one coming into the country. It's absolutely amazing what he's done. And the deportations are happening. They're happening by the boatload. And this is another reason why we need to be a united MAGA movement. We need to be a united MAGA movement. We are on top of the world right now. We are getting everything done we wanted to get done and then some. And we're only a few months into the first year of President Trump's second term. Now, this is Ilhan Omar, who really just said something incredibly stupid. Listen, here's Ilhan Omar. Hear that? Hear that? She's calling America one of the worst countries in the world. Really? Is she talking about an insurrection against the federal government? You know, this is an interesting thing here with Ilhan Omar, and a couple things about this. Okay, you know, Ilhan Omar here. If Trump would not have been reelected, the mindset that she had would have been mainstream in this country. And this is one of the reasons it's so important to be a united MAGA movement. You see, you know, what's going on with our great MAGA movement right now is we have taken all that woke stuff, and it sounds insane, doesn't it? Her attitude, what she just said, is what's been running the country for 4 years. 8 years of Obama, 4 years of the autopin Obama third term there, right? You know, that was the mainstream. That's woke. She's talking woke. And President Trump has wiped this country clean of woke. Someone starts talking that way, they're a joke now. Before, they were running the government. Right? And that's such an amazing shift. You know, like the Snow White, you know, this Snow White, which is now on Disney Plus. I've not watched it. My wife and I, we watched the first 5 minutes, and I didn't watch. I'm not interested in watching the new Snow White. But the Snow White is an excellent example of this. Snow White was made for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden's America, not Trump's America, right? It's a movie that is out of date on a dime. It's a woke propaganda film made for an audience that doesn't exist in a country that doesn't exist, woke United States of America. And Donald Trump has 100% defeated wokeism. So why would anyone be questioning anything that he's doing? That's amazing. And Ilhan Omar, there has been a lot of negative feedback that she's had to face from that comment. And you know what? The more people talk that woke nonsense, the more outrage there's going to be towards it. I mean, look at Fetterman. Fetterman is textbook example. You listen to Fetterman. If you didn't know who he was and you were just listening to him, you would think he was a MAGA Republican. He's out there pretending to be a MAGA man, Fetterman, and Democrat senator from Pennsylvania. Think about it. Look at the change that's happened in this country when you have one of the most radical labor guys out there, really a socialist, who's out there pretending to be MAGA all of a sudden. Who would have ever thought? Now, I wanted to show this to you guys. This is what I was talking about. Look at this. Look at this. This just came out. Cat Turd posted this on X. May 2025, 0 illegal migrants released into the United States. 0 illegal migrants came into the U.S. May 2025. 1 year prior, same month, May 2024, over 62,000 illegals came into the United States. Over 62,000, May 2024. May 2025, 0. Promises made, promises kept. Wow, that's amazing. And you know what? The wall's not even done yet. So why are people like Tucker Carlson criticizing this great president who's doing everything he promised to do? And we're only in this a few months. My name's Brian. We'll be right back. Telling Steve Kane this morning that come August, it'll be 3 years since Dr. Philip Appleton rid me of pain for the first time. It was in my knee. And my knee had been hurting me since I was 20, 21 years old. So it had been 30 years of suffering. And sometimes my knee would act up. It was my right knee. It would act up so much, I just wanted to sit down and go to sleep, because the pain was so bad. And Dr. Appleton treated me, and I know it was 3 years ago because I remember a salesman from the radio station took me to meet Dr. Appleton. And I told Dr. Appleton about my knee. I got that free consultation that you can take advantage of too, the free consultation with Dr. Appleton. And he treated me with a laser treatment on my knee, which is 100% painless. There's no shots, no injections, no downtime. In fact, not only is it completely painless, you don't even feel it when it's happening. So that was on Thursday. The next day I woke up on Friday and my knee was already improving. I went for a second treatment on Saturday. First treatment Thursday, second treatment on Saturday, and then Monday, the pain was gone. And 3 years coming in August, the pain has not returned because the laser treatment doesn't just rid you of pain, it repairs the damage that's causing the pain. It's amazing. It works. And he's rid me of pain 6 times after that for a total of 7, Dr. Appleton. We have listeners that travel literally from all over the United States to see Dr. Appleton. He is incredible. The laser treatment works on every type of pain I've ever heard of. Arthritis, which, by the way, he rid me of arthritis in my hand, bursitis, work and sports injuries, strains and sprains, repetitive motion injuries, post-surgical swelling, neck and back injuries, knee conditions, tinnitus, sciatica, spinal stenosis, fibromyalgia, plantar fasciitis, which I understand is incredibly painful, rotary tears, herniated disc, acute pain, chronic pain, and any type of pain you've ever heard of. Because I keep meeting listeners all the time with new pains I never heard of, and they're now living pain-free thanks to Dr. Appleton. Give him a call. Now, remember, appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com.
Planning your next adventure? Forget the stress. Let TripWalt, the smart trip planner app, handle everything for you. TripWalt is a revolutionary travel app that creates personalized itineraries in just seconds. No more endless searches, no more guesswork, just your perfect trip, curated to match your interest. With TripWalt, you'll discover hidden gems you never would have found before. Discover authentic local experiences and get smart recommendations tailored just for you. Whether you're dreaming of a weekend getaway or a bucket list journey, TripWalt turns travel planning into effortless excitement. It's easy to use too. Just tell TripWalt what you want, get your itinerary, and start exploring. Are you ready to transform how you travel? Download TripWalt right now in the Apple App Store. Available soon for Android. TripWalt, the smart trip planner. It can be messy, awkward, and sometimes hilarious. Excommunicate is the podcast where faith deconstruction meets modern dating. Hosted by Jessa, a former Mormon, and Austin, a never Mormon, navigating Utah's dating scene. Together, they cover the highs and lows and the unexpected turns of love beyond strict belief systems. From purity culture baggage to real connection, red flags to green flags. Excommunicate tackles all that and more with no dogma, just raw, relatable stories. New episodes drop bi-weekly and feature personal stories, hot takes, and conversations that blend the deeply personal with the universally funny. Excommunicate, available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and wherever you get your podcast. Excommunicate, connecting hearts, not dogma, because Cupid has no creed. Tune in right now. There's a new mindset-driven brand that blends streetwear and gymwear for those of you who move with purpose. Discipline. You don't just wear it, you live it. At Discipline, they blend bold streetwear with high-performance gymwear for those of you who move with purpose. Their hoodies, tees, and sweaters aren't just gear. They're a mindset built to keep you sharp, consistent, and locked in. If you're all about pushing the limits and looking good while you're doing it, Discipline is your brand. Shop now at discipline.etsy.com. That's DSCPLN. Discipline.etsy.com. Stay focused, stay ready, stay disciplined.
Well. Yeah, this just broke during the break. Look at this. Iran government jets flee to Oman. What's going on here? At least 3 Iranian planes have landed on Wednesday in the capital of Oman, the previous site of the U.S.-Iran nuclear talks. Al Jazeera verified flight data that showed 2 Iranian government planes and 1 from Iran's privately owned airline landing. The Iranian government has not released details on this trip. It's unclear if the movement signify a diplomatic outcome out of the crisis. So things are happening. Sounds pretty desperate, huh? Because remember when that Israeli hostage was released a few weeks back? He gave an interview, and he said as soon as Donald Trump was elected, the hostage takers that were holding him became terrified. They're afraid of Donald Trump because they know he doesn't play. Now, President Trump today at the White House, they put up the flagpole. They're putting 2 flagpoles up that he's paying for himself. And it is hard to believe that we don't have great American flagpoles there. And those flagpoles will be there forever, and they will eventually be named the Trump flagpoles. I know that Democrats hate the American flag, and they certainly hate what President Trump's doing. And President Trump not only raised those great American flagpoles he's putting up there out of his own pocket, he's also building a proper ballroom at the White House that he's paying for out of his own money. And they already have the plans for it. It's starting. He's going to pay for it. The reason he's paying for it is a couple reasons. One, to get it done faster. And it's going to be a big part of the White House where functions forever will take place. And it's going to be his ballroom. That's going to be a great thing. And hopefully it'll be named the Trump Ballroom. What they use now for the ballroom, the East Room, is a tiny little room at the White House. If you ever went there, if you've never been to the White House, the first time you go, when you go inside the White House, it's like you're in a miniature when you're there. It's all the rooms and everything, because when it was built, but they don't have a proper ballroom. The tiny, tiny room. The dining room's awful too. But when have you ever seen a president of the United States pay for anything, right, on his own? Remember Michelle Obama on her podcast was griping that they had to pay for their food that they ate when they were at the White House. And here's Trump laying out, first president to lay out money like that. That's amazing. Now, when he was out there with the guys installing the flagpole, which happened pretty quick, like all these events President Trump does, it turned into a press conference. Let's listen into some of it. It was pretty good and comical at times too. Here we go.
Suggestions. I know a lot of people from Iran, from New York, from Washington, mostly from New York. They're incredible people. They're smart. They're energetic. They can be difficult, but so can you. No, they're great people. They're smart people. And those people are getting the hell beat out of them now. And it's really a shame. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's another one. Russia, Ukraine is so stupid. Would have never happened if I was president. You guys agree with that, right? Would have never happened if I was president. Putin would have never done it. And I spoke to him yesterday, and I said, he actually offered to help mediate. I said, do me a favor. Mediate your own. Let's mediate Russia first, okay? I said, Vladimir, let's mediate Russia first. You can worry about this later. But I think that's going to work out, too. But so many people have been killed. The big thing with that one is far more people are dead than have been reported in the Ukraine, Russia. Many, many more people. A building falls down, they say nobody was hurt. It's ridiculous.
Question on deportation.
Unconditional surrender. Two very simple words. A very simple, unconditional surrender. That means I've had it. Okay, I've had it. I give up. No more. Then we go blow up all the all the nuclear stuff that's all over the place there. No, they had bad intentions. For 40 years they've been saying death to America, death to Israel, death to anybody else that they didn't like. They were bullies. They were schoolyard bullies. And now they're not bullies anymore, but we'll see what happens. Look, nothing's finished until it's finished. War is very complex. A lot of bad things can happen. A lot of turns are made. So I don't know. I wouldn't say that we won anything yet. I would say that we sure as hell made a lot of progress. And we'll see. The next week is going to be very big. Maybe less than a week. Maybe less. But is there anybody here that said it would be okay to have a hostile, very, zealots really, but to have a hostile country have a nuclear weapon that could destroy 25 miles, but much more than that, could destroy other nations just by the breeze blowing the dust. That dust blows to other nations and they get decimated. This is just not a threat you can have. And we've been threatened by Iran for many years. If you go back and look at my history, if you go back 15 years, I was saying we cannot let Iran get a nuclear weapon. I've been saying it for a long time, and I mean it more now than I ever meant it. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, this is amazing. I mean, he's standing firm, and, I'm starting to wonder, does Iran not have the capabilities we've been led to believe? Because their response to all of this has been really mild.
No, they had bad intentions. For 40 years they've been saying death
This
to America, death.
This thing that's from the clip I played before, but this death to America chants that they've been doing forever. Been serious about that, and they've been funding all this terrorism and everything else. And I like what President Trump said. I've had enough. I had enough. And all these people in this country that are arguing against war with Iran, doesn't it look like we're not going to war with Iran? That President Trump is going to be able to get them to either have a coup or surrender or just have a complete fall of their government without a war, because the people over there are so afraid that he means business. Looks that way to me.
What do you say to the supreme leader of Iran says that they will not surrender?
Say good luck.
What is the end game?
Say it. It's already run out. That's why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah. No more time.
They had 60 days and a big, 60 days, plenty of time. And they made a mistake. Honestly, they made a mistake. Their country's in ruins. So many people are dead that shouldn't be dead. It's a very sad thing.
Yeah, the damage in Iran is far worse than we're being told in the media for whatever reason. Here he is talking about the big, beautiful bill.
I mean, anybody that votes against it, they voted to give a 68% tax increase, and many other benefits. There would be no money for the border. We have billions of dollars allocated to immigration, the border, keeping criminals out, getting criminals out too. If that doesn't pass, you'll get a 68% tax increase. And I would say this, any senator that votes against it, and that includes Democrats, I think they'll be finished in politics.
Yeah, it's so important to hear him talk in his own words. Let's play a couple more clips, and I'll tell you why that's so important.
Have you been answered questions about whether you are moving closer, or you believe the U.S. is moving closer to striking Iranian nuclear facilities? Where's your mindset on that?
I can't say that, right?
This is
You
hilarious.
seriously think I'm going to answer that question? Will you strike the Iranian nuclear component? And what time exactly, sir? Sir, would you strike it? Would you please inform us so we can be there and watch? I mean, you don't know that I'm going to even do it. You don't know. I may do it. I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do. I can tell you this, that Iran's got a lot of trouble, and they want to negotiate. And I said, why didn't you negotiate with me before? All this death and destruction. Why didn't you negotiate? I said to the people, why didn't you negotiate with me 2 weeks ago? Mm-hmm. You could have done fine. You would have had a country.
Yeah. And the reason it's so important to watch the president in his own words live, if you can, okay, is so you can hear what he's really doing and really saying, not filtered through pundits that tell you that he said something that he didn't do, or if he does this, if he does that, this negative thing will happen. Everything you hear him say is what he ran on. Promises made, promises kept. Now, this one here, there he is. Now, in this clip, he's standing next to Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend, Brian Glenn. And this is an interesting comment he made. Listen.
What gave you the idea to do this?
I've had it for a long time. The first time I had it, but you guys were after me. I said I had to focus. I was the hunted, and now I'm the hunter. It's a big difference. Big difference.
And you see how he patted, if you're watching on YouTube and you're seeing the video version, you could see how he patted Brian Glenn on the arm when he said that. These guys are best friends. Don't worry about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Brian Glenn, her boyfriend, is one of the president's close, personal, best friends. He's the new first bud, it looks like, here today at the flagpole raising. What did he mean by that? He's the hunter. Is he talking about the media? Is he talking about the deep state? I think he's talking about the media and the deep state myself. Now, if you'd like to support the program, become a Patreon supporter. If you're a Patreon supporter, you have access to commercial-free editions of each and every podcast episode. And since I have upgraded the podcast to have a video version of the Brian Craig Show podcast, the audio version is still on all the podcast platforms, guys. But on YouTube and YouTube Music, I upload the video version. And Patreon supporters, not only do you have access exclusively as a Patreon supporter to commercial-free editions of the Brian Craig Show podcast, you get a commercial-free video version of it, completely commercial-free, if you're a Patreon supporter. If you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode on whatever platform you're listening to us on. And if you're one of our top Patreon supporters, you get a live on-air shout-out on each episode. Your name is in the description of the podcast episodes, and on YouTube and YouTube Music, your name as a top Patreon supporter appears on the screen while I go through the names like I'm about to do. So the following names are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, Pamela, Nick, Wesley, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Alice, LeeZep, Shawna, George, Brandon, John, Frank, Dale, David, Laura, Rob, and SFjr. These are our top Patreon supporters. If you want your name on the screen and in the description, or you want to get those commercial-free editions of the podcast, go into the description of this episode. On whatever platform you're on, go to my Patreon page and become a Patreon supporter. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's Frank from West Palm. How you doing there?
All right,
Brian,
Frank.
you were absolutely correct. Leaporta Roofing was amazingly phenomenal. They just completed my roof last week, and Leaporta Roofing was superb in all ways imaginable when installing the new roof on my residence. Tom Leaporta meticulously spearheaded the entire project from inception through to the finalization of the assignment. Tom handled all the paperwork involving city permits, inspectors, and my community HOA. He was always available, ensuring me that he had my back in all phases of the project. Additionally, Tom, Scott, and Dan, and the entire crew were very well organized with the plan, consistent with all policies and procedures, and craftsmanship was exemplary in all stages of the design execution. Tom, Scott, and Dan maintained continual contact with me, the homeowner, asking if there were any questions I had or anything further I needed. Leaporta Roofing is, in every respect, a stellar, 5-star, AAA, family-owned company that is a reliable, peace-of-mind roofing organization. These guys are spot on with regards to perfection, and they demand it. I remain mesmerized upon the completion of the job. My roof is a masterpiece. And one last thing before I forget, they were the least expensive quote that I received out of 4 quotes for roofing. I thank Tom Leaporta Roofing for all that they do.
Wow, Frank. Well, thanks so much. Tom Leaporta at Leaporta Roofing. He covers both the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. He works with every type of structure, residential, commercial, municipal, and he works with every type of roofing material. Also, don't forget, Tom Leaporta will never sell you a roof you do not need. If you need just a simple repair, he'll do it. He can also handle the job of any size, whether it's a single-family home or an HOA with over 200 units. Give him a call. This number rings directly to Tom Leaporta's cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LeaportaRoofing.com. Frank, thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Brian. You have a wonderful day.
Miranda Devine has an incredible podcast. There's only been 2 episodes. It's done through the New York Post, and I love Miranda Devine. Right? I mean, she wrote The Laptop from Hell, which you all should get. And if you get The Laptop from Hell, make sure that you get the version that is the audiobook. It just blow your mind. But anyway, she's great. We all love Miranda Devine. She said 2 episodes. First episode, she interviewed the president, and then she interviewed Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, which was really interesting. I'd not heard him in a prolonged interview, and it was pretty good, but I wanted to share one clip of it. Listen to this. This is the Treasury Secretary with Miranda Devine on her podcast, which you guys should check out, especially that interview with Trump. She asked great questions of Trump.
Blue-collar wage growth, the only other time it's been this high wait for it, was during President Trump's first term. So we've seen real wages for hourly workers, non-supervisory workers, rise almost 2% in the first 5 months.
Why is that?
No president has done that before.
And why is that?
It's the president's emphasis on manufacturing. I think there's also likely a component of whether it's 12 or 20 million illegal aliens coming out of the workforce. And Joe Biden opened the border and it was flooded. And that for working Americans, that's a disaster because it's pressure on their wages.
Yeah. Okay. This interview was fantastic. In fact, he went on to talk about a few other things, and you should go and watch it. It's about an hour long, and her interview with the president. That's a tough interview because he takes questions so much, and she asked questions and follow-ups in ways that had not been asked before with President Trump. Miranda Devine's podcast, pretty good. It's called Pod Force One. That's what it's called. Pretty good name, huh? Brian Craig Show is a better name, but Pod Force One is the name of Miranda Devine's podcast. You check it. It's on YouTube, and I'm sure it's on the podcast player platforms too, but I saw it on YouTube. But the Scott Bessent interview, that was an amazing thing. But he talked about something that was very interesting. And, he's a successful Wall Street guy, and he was talking about how easy his job is as Treasury Secretary because President Trump comes from the business world and he understands all these things. And the liberals have this phrase, this taco thing, Trump always chickens out about the tariffs going up and down and what's all that. And the Treasury Secretary told Miranda Devine an amazing story with Trump changing things on the tariffs and how it worked. He said they were dealing with Europe. And he said in the EU, he says it's very difficult to know who to talk to when you're dealing with the EU. And he said the different countries have so many different interests. He said Germany's interested in the automotive. France is interested in agriculture. And he says you don't know who to call. They can't agree on anything. They have this bizarre system. And they couldn't get anyone on Europe that could speak for Europe on the phone. So President Trump came out and announced a 50% tariff. He said the phone started ringing, country after country, and he did it to get them on the phone, and it worked. It's pretty amazing. And this Treasury Secretary we have, he's the best. I was so impressed with him. And when you go and watch that interview with Miranda Devine with him, which you should do, you'll get to know him in a whole new way, and you'll be impressed with him too. Now we got a Supreme Court ruling. Supreme Court ruled today to uphold a ban put in place by Tennessee lawmakers on transgendered surgeries and chemical procedures for youth. This is in Trending Politics I'm reading from, and they write that it vindicates conservatives who argued that the opinion of medical professionals should stand behind those of parents. In a 6-3 decision, the Supreme Court signaled that all states may now pursue bans on transgender-related care for minors. This is one of those things that's just totally stupid and insane. When it comes to a tattoo, a child under the age of 18 has to get parental permission to get a tattoo. In many states, this may not be true in every state, but this is true in the state of Florida. If you're under 18, you have to have parental permission to get your ears pierced at the mall. But you don't need parental permission to have an abortion or have your private parts transformed. I mean, that doesn't even make sense. It's so stupid. And, when we were talking earlier about Ilhan Omar and how that woke stuff was mainstream and Trump ended it, this is too. If Kamala Harris would have won, or Biden, or any other Republican, okay, like Nikki Haley, these local legislatures in these states wouldn't be banning this stuff. None of this would be happening. Supreme Court ruling was, the Supreme Court breakdown would still be the same with the political affiliations, but the case never would have been brought to the court because it would have been defeated along the way if they did it. It just wouldn't have even made it that far because the will of the country on these issues would have been in just a different way. There's been such a tone change in everything. One of the best stories of the week involved Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it's unfortunate, he was on The View. It's unfortunate that Schwarzenegger and the president had a falling out during the first term. But the hags on The View, they had Schwarzenegger on, and of course he's the former governor of California and a very successful immigrant. And they asked him about these deportations by ICE, and they just assumed, all these idiots on The View, that Schwarzenegger, because he's an immigrant, would support the illegal immigrants and not ICE and the deportations. And he had the conservative position. He says, I'm an immigrant, a legal immigrant. You got to obey the laws. And The View were in shock when Schwarzenegger came out on the right side of that issue. It was fantastic to watch. And go watch it if you have a chance. I don't want to hear their voices, so I'm not going to play the clip. But maybe Schwarzenegger and the president could make up, because I always liked, we like, everybody likes Terminator and stuff. But it was so much fun watching him humiliate. And they were in shock. They were in shock that he didn't support the illegals. I couldn't believe it. He is a very successful legal immigrant, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And every once in a while, he surprises us. My name's Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I'll talk to you next time.